Hello, hello. We're back with episode number 4. This one has been a little bit delayed for grieving purposes for all you Argentinian fans out there, but I think we are over the initial grief, at least enough to talk about it now. We want to dive in and recap the finals and also talk a little about the third, fourth place match and then give some vision for the future. So let's go to our most experienced, most knowledgeable host, Mr. Mateo Spitzberg.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about this World Cup, mainly because I think part of therapy is just talking about the sad stuff. Uh, and I just think it's gonna be fun to just like look to the future for all these teams, all these new coaches, and just what we think will be in store for this next World Cup cycle, and what we think can and will happen for these teams, and what can and will change. I'll hand it over to the guy who the only reason why I and him are into soccer is because of his wife and my mom. So
That's true. Yeah, I think it's interesting reflecting on July 19th today, and we're full into August already, and I think the sadness of the World Cup being over, like I still feel the withdrawal of how much I enjoyed these sorts of conversations and just talking to people. There was an excitement about the World Cup and soccer in general, which I'm really grateful that we get this. And yeah, I mean, Argent. Well, we're not getting into the specifics of the final yet, but I think it was. Yeah, I think the World Cup was such a great roller coaster, and I'm looking forward to talking as much as possible about 2030, and if we can sneak some 2027 Women's World Cup in there as well. I'm really excited just about soccer everywhere again soon, and this is what a great opportunity to reflect on what we saw in the final.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe we can, before we even dissect that Sunday and Saturday match, or those two matches, maybe we could just all reflect a little bit on kind of the overall tournament and kind of, yeah, everything that went about over 104 matches and 5+ weeks of amazing soccer.
yeah, just I think that it just showed like the unity of the world. Like if we all were to it kind of shows like for like five, as you said, like five some weeks, it kind of shows like a utopian kind of future with us all kind of like binding together, all of us unifying and like just seeing like this beautiful like rallying call for everyone, just like everyone unifying, everyone stopping and watching this. It was great seeing the US when they were excelling, seeing how much the everyday American who probably couldn't name two soccer players before the World Cup started actually following and actually like falling in love with this team. It was great, and it was just so great like seeing all these different things just happening at the same time, seeing all like the Netherlands fans with their orange thing, or even like the teams that didn't even make it that far, like Uzbekistan, riding on like night horses to the stadium. It was just so cool, like seeing all these cultures, seeing all these people just come together for this event and just accept that like we may be different, but right now we're all supporting the same thing, and that thing is soccer, and we are all watching the best players play when it means the most to them, and I think it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. I mean, we just for the sake of our millions of viewers, we were able to make it to 5 different stadiums over the course of the knockout or of the group stage. We went into one of those 5 stadiums for the Qatar Bosnia match in Seattle. But to be around the 5 stadiums, to be, kind of welcoming fans in with our little Haverbros business that we ran and flag sales was a lot of fun. But it gave me a chance really just to encourage a lot of people and a lot of different nations that were represented at any given match, because there was, you could almost probably list out every nation that was in the tournament. Somebody with a jersey from that nation was at each of those 5 games that we were there, kind of walking into the stadium, which was so cool. Even just getting to see kind of like the cultural differences of people's kind of, diehard belief in their nation and how far they would go, or their like humility and kind of like carefulness in how much they were going to kind of express how far their team and their nation could go. I loved that. I loved just meeting a lot of the people and seeing a lot of the nations coming together. That was just a ton of fun for us and our family.
Now, we had the privilege of seeing a little bit of you in that vein at Red Bull Stadium at the Fan Fest for the Brazil-Morocco game. When you were at that game, you were just at like level 300 million, or in level infinity of excitement and just really reaching out to the cultures. Was that you at all 5 of those stadiums? Like, was that the level of your involvement with the fans there?
Yeah, no, I think like having the replica World Cup trophy also helps, just to create some more excitement and get people fired up and taking pictures and things like that. I'm still bitter about Brazil stealing that from me. And wherever you are, if you're watching now, how dare you? Your 6th star, whenever you guys get that, if you do, will be an asterisk star because of stealing my World Cup trophy. No, we had a blast. I mean, yeah, there were lots of different moments like that where we were, yeah, Champions League lifting 4-inch, mini World Cup trophies, doing juggling contests with people for kind of free World Cup trophies and flags and jerseys and all kinds of stuff. So we just had a blast with, which is the whole tournament in general.
So I guess we should start preparing for that for 2030 when we're all together. We get to see, you'll lead us to the promised land of fan involvement in España.
Yes, we'll need to do that. Yeah, in all 3 of those nations, we'll make our alchemy tour.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So you want to dive into the 2 matches that we haven't covered?
Yes, let's go there. Where do you want to go first?
Let's do a 3rd place game.
Okay.
Do you want to start off, or?
Sure. Happy to. I mean, I will just bring us back to our prediction. David did say that he felt like England was going to win. And Matteo, you and I both just, berated and scoffed at that. I did, because I looked back at that one just to kind of refresh my memory. I did predict that England would score 3 goals, but that I thought that France would get to double digits in their goal scoring. We got to double digits in total goals scored, so that was good. But England just, and I think it might have been David also who made a comment before that match that that hopefully England has kind of picked up on what we saw from Spain, and that they were just going to come. They were not going to sit back. They were going to really kind of press forward and be on the front foot. And England did that in an amazing way. And that first half was an utter embarrassment for France, as much as it was, a glorious moment of redemption for England. I think that France certainly redeemed themselves with their second half performance. Obviously, Mbappe showed us what we've seen in these last 2 World Cups of just the goal scoring machine that he is. But they created a lot of great chances, and were able to certainly make it one of the most memorable matches of the entire tournament, which to me was very refreshing because as I said to you guys before that match on our last episode, it saddens me deeply when I see people receive their 3rd place medal and just kind of kick it to the curb. But to see England wear it with pride and just to celebrate in the way that they did and to really put everything out there. I was surprised that, that we didn't see Kane in the match. I thought seeing Bellingham come in and do what he did was awesome. But yeah, I felt like England put it all out there and really showed the world they've got, some great potential for the future, and some very good young players.
Yeah, a lot to take away from that match. I would say the main takeaway for me was number one that Thomas Tuchel shouldn't get that much hate, and I'll go back to that later. But number two is that Upamecano, the French center back who also plays for Bayern Munich, is highly undervalued because I don't hear many people talking about him. The difference from when he was out, being it 4-0 in favor of England, and it could have easily been like 10-0 in that first half, to the complete and utter domination that France had. Of course, they took out some players. Of course, they put in more experienced attacking players. But that defense was able to hold down because of the leadership of Upamecano. I think that really just shows to me like he will be a main French player in this like coming like in 2030 and possibly in 2034, like because of how he was able to anchor down this game. Pretty much means nothing. You're down 4-0 and yet you still are stopping goals. You're still giving that effort. And of course also he does have that motivation that's Deschamps' last game. But still, like in the back of your mind, you're thinking that like, does this matter? We're down 4-0. And then you see your team do that, but you can't do that if you don't have that perform. The team doesn't do anything if Upamecano doesn't come in and have the center back performance that he did.
That's good.
Yeah, both you guys got some great takes there. I'm curious on how you think Tuchel shouldn't just be lambasted for the semifinal game, but we can get to that later. I think that game was so refreshing, especially as we're about to get into the final game. But I thought it showed that Tuchel made huge mistakes against France. Like, what were you thinking? Like, you should have kept not France. I'm so sorry, Argentina.
I didn't want to correct you, but
you should have. That's what you got. But yeah, like I don't know. As we're talking about the game and 6-4, like what a fun, just a fun. It almost feels fake. Of course you have a game in the United States. It's all about goals and goals. It's kind of like what typical Americans would have wanted in the final. I'm sorry, United States. People in the United States. My niece always corrects me when I say Americans. So does Bad Bunny. But yeah, I think that it was entertaining. It was nice that it was at a time we all could watch it, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, one more comment from my end. I mean, I just think what we saw from Saka was glorious. And I think that certainly does point us back to the semifinals and just say, how does he not get on the pitch? I didn't read any follow-ups there to see kind of what was said or what was the reasoning behind that, but he played an incredible game and is a fantastic talent.
Yeah.
He plays for the only soccer team that I don't like in the world.
Which is?
Arsenal. Can I tell that story, or we'll save that for another?
We'll save that for another episode. Okay. Okay. Lot of 4 years until the next World Cup. I think we'll have plenty of time for you to tell that story. So let's move on, sadly, to the final. Is it good if I start?
Of course.
Wait, can we just have a moment of silence? Both for Messi's father and for how Argentina played. Thank you.
Okay, after that. So I think that for me, there was one good thing that came out of that World Cup final. And it's that France didn't win and England didn't win. And Brazil didn't win the World Cup final. I think that those are the only three good things that came out of that was good for me as an Argentina fan. I think that at all but one point, I think that Argentina, I was not enjoying that game. My blood pressure stayed too high, and you never felt like Argentina was going to turn it around until the final 10 minutes. And at that point, you're down a man. You're up against the best defense in this World Cup, and it's just so hard. It's nearly a miracle that they were able to engineer some chances, let alone Giuliano Simeone's chance where he had a little bit of a window. Goalie was, I think, a little bit prepared, but if he slots it correctly, it's a goal. Still a tough opportunity, but it's kind of a half miracle that they were even able to set that one up. Just disappointing from Argentina. I was ready for penalties by the first half. By the end of the first half, nothing good came out from that, apart from the three things I talked about.
Okay, that's fair. I'll break up. I'll be the meat and cheese in between two Argentinian breads. Um, um, I I am sorry. I'm sad for you guys. I do love Messi. I just felt sadness. There were a couple of moments that where they captured him walking off the field and just kind of on looking as Spain was lifting the cup after it was all said and done, and you just felt his pain. I mean, he is such a great competitor. I just feel like a guy that you just want to root for. I know that there was a lot of ugliness that happened after the game, which is unfortunate. But to me, you know what I kind of hoped and thought was going to happen, kind of a replica of the 2010 World Cup Finals, Spain over my beloved Dutch. Really happened again in a lot of ways. 0-0 through regulation, and then they find a goal before penalty kicks. I think to go. I think it was like the 103rd minute, maybe. We're at the end of the first extra time before Argentina gets their first shot on goal. I think it was 20-1 at that point. I mean, to do what you did against France and shut them out in the semifinals, to give up one goal the entire tournament, to give up no shots through 103 minutes against Argentina, that is, and they've got some great offensive players on Spain. I think they have the potential is there to get even better than they were this World Cup. But that defensive performance to me is not going to get the credit that it deserves, because that is one of the best that we've ever seen in a World Cup.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel like Argentina should have come out with a different formation. I think it should have been a 4-3-3. The only way to break a good defense is to have a good offense. And I just felt like there wasn't enough. A lot of my friends are blaming Enzo for that loss. I mean, the game was lost before that. It's just Spain is scary now. I think if it could go like I don't see how they don't win the Euros, and I just think home advantage, like they could be the next back to back since the Brazil team with Pele. So we could be seeing the beginning of a dynasty.
Mm.
However, you have some great coaches coming online for some of these other countries, and it's also hard. It's hard to keep that. I think the Euros might be easier than the World Cup, but they have home field advantage coming up, and that's scary. They
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the way they just dominated the tournament, quietly, with which is what good soccer is, right? Like it's having the people like Rodri who just do the job.
Mm-hmm.
You just do your job, and you don't and like it's the type of thing, like if you do your job, nobody's gonna really know you're there. And it seems like the whole team was just doing their job.
Yeah.
And collectively to make that happen is impressive. And yeah, I hope it does change uh, a lot of like how we approach winning games. I mean, they're going to be a hard egg to crack to beat. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so sad. The game was sad for me. It was sad because, kind of like you hinted with the Messi, and just hope there was one more magic As Alexi Lawless said, when Argentina would go to the well, there was always water. So I was
Mm-hmm.
hoping for the water for this one last time.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Just a lot. I do want to add on to what you guys are saying about this dominant Spain team, especially what he said about back to back. Kubarsi, I think he's either 19 or 20. I know Lamine Yamal is 19. Oyarzabal isn't that old. I think Cucurella is 24. He allowed 0 people past him that World Cup. If there was a defensive player of the World Cup, it would be him. And they have all these guys in their early to mid 20s. And they've already won the World Cup. And they are unified. They play smart. Everyone, as he said, everyone does their job. It is scary for me to see that. I do want to go back to my England thing now that we're talking about Argentina. With those 3 chances, it's kind of insane. As I said before, it's kind of a half miracle that they were able to get those chances. And that's why I think that Tuchel, I don't think it was the right play, but I don't discredit him, especially with what we saw, because, and I've said this before, and I've said this to you during our botched take of this episode. I said the desperate Argentina, in my opinion, is the best team in the world, because every single one of those guys are willing to sacrifice everything for Messi to see him win another World Cup. So if you're telling me that they can get 3 chances with 1 less man against the best defense in the tournament when they haven't gotten anything all game, and then you're telling me that they couldn't score a singular goal in like 30 minutes against an England team who they already had gotten chances against, which they had 11 men on, and it doesn't warrant what Tuchel did, but I think it just kind of shows he had a right to be scared of Argentina. And I don't think that England were exactly robbed. I think it would have definitely gone to extra time, especially with what we saw for the first time, them being down in a desperate area since without the team making a coaching error, which was Egypt. So I think it's just it's insane. It's insane how they played. It's insanely infuriating. I don't like it, but I also don't like people saying that England threw away their chances. I think their chances were pretty low for that game to end in regular time. Anyways, so
let's get a
take.
Yeah, we should. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I want to get a take from you two, and I didn't really dive into this too deeply, partly because of just my love of Argentina and my sadness. But what was your guys' take on kind of what happened after the match was over?
We headed home immediately after because we were all so sad. So we didn't see. I'm saddened by it. But with how the game was, Argentina was a bit heated. All of their favorite players is crying over there like pretty much in the corner, and the other team is off celebrating, as they rightly should. But you see your idol crying, and you see someone celebrating that cry, at least from your perspective, you get a little bit heated. I do not warrant it, and I wish it wouldn't have happened because it's already been pretty rough for Argentines with this World Cup, with all the rigged allegations, with all they're too heated, they do too many of this, too many of that. I don't like it. My mom doesn't like Paredes. None of my family likes those like Argentine hotheads, but it's the brand that Argentina has made, and like it or not, it wins most games. They've won 2 Copa America finals and have been to 2 World Cup finals.
Yeah, I think I'm right there. I'm not going to repeat what Mateo said, but it's Max Crosby at a recent Raiders practice was like tackling the living daylights out of Kirk Cousins. Why? Because Max Crosby's been doing that his entire career. You can't expect the switch to just turn off with these players. And I think it's horrible. I think it's unsportsmanlike. I think there should be consequences, but to me it's football, soccer runs in your veins in Argentina, and it's hard to switch that off. It's really hard to just cut that off. So yes, it's sad. Yes, they should get fined. I'm not surprised, and it's just very challenging to cut off. And I've talked to people who think it's the most. It's horrible. It's bad for the game, but
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah, and I didn't see it in the moment. I didn't really watch any like of the replays of it or hear any of the commentary on it. So this is all just kind of, hearsay from my side, but I just I to me, when you do lose, when the match is over, you have to figure out how to turn the switch off. I get that you're angry, you're upset, you're emotional, all those different things. You maybe, even you're feeling sadness or, love for the goat, who you've gone to battle with, over this tournament and the previous number of years. But you have to hold yourself at a level that is, um, respectful and honorable, and that was not done. And so, yeah, whatever the ramifications and the consequences are of that, I think bring them on and let them be what they are. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think I've played soccer with you, which is I should put that on my resume. But like you have the switch, right? Like when you're playing soccer, that's a lot different than when when we're having a conversation like this, or when you're training me to be a better soccer player. Like that's a different Daniel Haverkos than when you're losing the game, you're down 4-1, and your friend scores a goal. It's like you don't care because you still want to win the game. Like the eyes and the passion is still there. So when I hear you say you have to do the switch, I think I can see how you've probably done that your entire career.
yeah, my dad said to me one time, after he beat me, he said, "Daniel, you're a much better loser than I am." And I was like, "Thanks, Dad." And I was like, "Wait a second, that's not a good compliment." But I think that the reality is like we have to accept the loss once the whistle is blown. We have to be able to shake hands, move forward, and it's sad. There is no greater sadness. On that note, I did want to just point out, to me, like what Messi showed us in this World Cup blew away all the expectations that I had. I feel just extraordinary for him, as I then kind of found myself digging a little bit just to say, like, hey, is he the goat of all goats? Like, where do we put Messi kind of in this? And I went back and kind of, against your guys' hated Brazil, just started looking up some stats on Pele and what World Cups did he win, when he's uh, 17, I think, or 18, when he wins his first one. I think he was 17, and then wins, 3 out of 4 World Cups, and the number of goals that he put up, which is obviously is not the numbers that we're seeing today with Mbappe and Messi. Here, but I'm gonna make a renewed statement for the record here that, unfortunately, against my own statements that I've made to many, many people, I'm gonna revert back and say that Pele is still the GOAT of all time, for soccer. And part of that is because of just the number of World Cups. You have Messi makes it to 3 finals. That's incredible, but you win 1 out of 3 finals versus what Brazil and Pele is able to do. I'm gonna kind of stick my goat plug onto Mr. Pele.
Did you just want to end all future podcasts now because you said that, or are we going to try to?
I mean, I got to stir the pot with Colombia, with anything I can. We're here for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with you so much. I don't want to dive too deep into this now because we got to talk about other stuff. But I think that Messi is the GOAT. I think if you're putting in club and country, but I think that Pele is, with Mbappe losing in the World Cup semifinal of this one. I know that he's made it to 2, but he's only won 1. And Pele has won 3. And if Mbappe goes to 5 World Cups, I'm gonna half count it if he wins it, and that's only really if he's like a star player, not a guy coming off the bench. Because when Pele was playing, they didn't have the science for you to play inside of 5 World Cups. They didn't have like the doctor stuff, the conditioning that these players are doing now when they're 12, 13, 14, getting ready for for a career that could last them till they're 40. I think that it's kind of unfair to do the goal comparison because the style of play was very different now from then to now. And it's just I think that Mbappe has to win one more World Cup, win one or two more World Cups. If he wins two, I think he becomes the greatest World Cup player of all time. Or he needs to win one more World Cup and win the next two Golden Boots that he plays for him to become the greatest World Cup player of all time. Because of his, just because of the difference in just styles that they played, it's so hard to compare them. So you just have to do how did they perform when the world was watching, and how did they, and just what effect did they have? Were they able to win? I think that's fair enough to say to judge Mbappe by.
Okay.
We should probably wrap up the episode. So, hot takes for 2030 or anything else that you want to get into?
I would be curious if you guys have any hot takes on the 2027 World Cup. And I need to go dive in and really think more about that. But do you guys have anything on that front before we go to 2030 World Cup hot take?
No, I don't have anything on that front.
I mean, we are DC's about to host the Spain USA game, which would be really cool to see. I'm just kind of not into paying that much money right now for live soccer. It's a bad taste in my mouth. So I think that's a good game to really we could bring back to this conversation. But I think Spain will be hard to beat, but I think USA's hungry. USA is hungry to win this. I think that it's not theirs to lose in any respect, but I think we're probably hosting the World Cup final by having Spain and USA do a friendly. So
yeah. Okay, what are our hot takes for 2030?
I think that an African team will make the final.
Oh my
year. 2030. I think. Yes, I know Germany has a new coach. I know that Colombia is looking hot. I know that.
Well, Colombia is the best team from front to back in South America.
Top to bottom, I agree. In the world, probably.
I think sadly, I think that Argentina, either if Scaloni's going to be there, they're either going to be recovering from the Messi hangover or drunk on the Messi Kool-Aid, just thinking about maybe he could play 10 minutes. I think he's going to be 43. Now, I do think he could have an effect because he is that good, but for me, it's not really realistic. So I think that an African team will make it. I think Morocco's looked really good, and they're gonna have they're gonna have a more developed Hakimi. I think that Senegal could develop. They showed some flashes of what they could be.
You're holding on. Your Senegal was your pick in the semis. Yeah. You're holding on to that.
They've been my dark horse for.
I love that.
And I think that what we've seen from these African nations, even from DR Congo giving us that run, from Morocco giving us that run 4 years ago. Cape Verde. Just all these teams just showing that they can develop and showing that African football is not European level. It's not Copa America, but it is it's top tier, and it's about as close as you can get for that for those two leagues. I really do think that with how the African nations are developing now with their soccer, I just think it's gonna be hard to ignore the facts, especially once you see some international friendlies. We already saw Senegal beat England in Wembley. I think it's just gonna be really hard to not pick an African team if you want a little hot take for your 2030 World Cup. Yeah,
that's great.
I'll go next. Messi will be playing in the 2030 World Cup, and Argentina will get to the semifinals. The final will be Germany, Spain, and Germany is going to win the 2030 World Cup.
Why would you say that? You literally said you would rather see France win. You literally said you'd rather see Brazil win than
I'm not happy about it, but that's what I'm predicting.
Uh,
Right,
man.
just as a co-host, 2 more things in this podcast, and then we'll wrap it up. We need your 2030 prediction, and then we also need you to finalize the reward out of the 3 of us. We made a bet that the whoever picks the winning team gets a jersey, which I thought I said replica. He said no, it was a real jersey. So after you give us your 2030 hot take, we would like to hear what the reward is for you.
Yeah, my hot take is USA does not make it out of group play.
Woo!
No. Sadly.
Oh, Pochettino.
Yeah, I don't like that re-signing. I think he was brought in to get us past where he got us this year, and he didn't deliver, and he did so. Really, we did so in an embarrassing way. You get knocked out 4-1 against a team that you really could and I think should have beaten. We are not good against European teams. And so, we're going to be playing on European soil. I just think we're in trouble. I would love to be proven wrong on that. I think
I would love to be proven wrong on my take too.
my selection for my World Cup championship jersey will be the shark covered Cape Verde warm up top with Duarte, I think is what I want on there. The number 14 with the double Meg goal against Argentina. I'll send you guys the specs on that so we can get that ordered. And on that note, I will just piggyback off of a Mateo hot take. First of all, Cape Verde, if you think about kind of proximity to where the next cup is going to be held, you can't get much closer than where Cape Verde is geographically. And I think that the excitement in that nation for soccer is phenomenal right now. I would love to see them continue that on. I'm going to piggyback off Mateo's hot take, though, and say 4 of the quarterfinalists in the 2030 World Cup will be from Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. So so 2 things to piggyback on what you said, and then we'll end it. The USA no longer are hosting, so they will be inside of a B. They will either be inside that B or C tier of teams in all likelihood, and also Morocco, a African team, of course, is hosting this year. So I think Morocco, I would say, has the highest chance, but you never know, like, what kind of African teams could develop in the next 4 years, or maybe just during that 2030 World Cup, we could see an insane run. I really like it. I sadly can agree with you on that. I don't think it has a high likelihood of happening, but I definitely think for hot takes, it's not the hottest of takes that you can make. The only European teams I think they beat were, I know they beat Bosnia, and then I forget who else. They lost to Turkey, and they played Australia. So yeah, they only beat Bosnia, who, I mean, they're not the worst team. They're not the worst European team, but I think I think they have never been an elite European team in these past 8 years.
Yeah. Okay, fellas, good stuff.
Hey, bring it in. And here we go. 2030 Alchemist podcast signing off. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you soon.
See ya.